If you'd like to have the freedom to improvise creatively, learn jazz standards faster, and even compose your own music, then this video is for you. I'm going to share with you 5 essential chord progressions that every jazz musician has to know. So let's go. Alright, so the first one is the 1-4 chord progression. So I'm going to show you in the key of C. Basically, we're going from C, that's going to be our chord 1, to F. Okay, and I mean, we could just use inversions. One of the ways you can go from chord 1 to 4 is you can make 1 a dominant 7th, and then that will take you to F. Okay, so by 7th I mean I'm adding the flat 7 of C, and then that takes me to F. So this is a 1-4 chord progression. It is very common in jazz music. So one place where you're probably going to come across this is in the blues. So if I play a 12-bar blues in the key of C, there's my 1 chord, right? So I might have that's Now's the Time by Charlie Parker, right? So I went from chord 1 to chord 4. So that's the opening of that blues song. So what you need to be able to do as a jazz musician is to connect chord 1 to chord 4, and to connect the scales for chord 1, that's a C7 scale, and the scale for chord 4, which is okay. So I might play something like let's say I play starting on the 2nd degree of C. I might play something like this, and then that is the opening of my solo or my improvisation, for instance. I'll do that again. So I started on the 2nd degree. I added a little half step on my way down. So I said, and then to connect me to the F7 scale, I used some approach notes, which were basically G and A flat, which took me to the 3rd degree of my F7 chord. Let me play that line again. So, and then now I'm thinking of an F7 scale, and I've played those notes. These are the last 3 notes of that scale, right? Because it's, so I said, so there it was again. I went from chord 1 again back to chord 4. So that's a very common chord progression. Okay, so not only do we need to know the chords, we need to know how to connect melodies and melodic ideas and scales from the 1 to the 4. Okay, so not only do we find this in the blues, one place where we find it is in a song like Cherokee, for instance. And Cherokee goes like, so let me do that again slowly. So I went from chord 1, I played a 5, back to 1, now that 1 is taking me to 4. To flat 7. Okay, so I'll play the chords maybe in a simpler way. So it was chord 1, da, 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 and then chord 5, chord 1, now going to 4. So there's that 1-4 progression. Da, da, dee, to flat 7. So obviously I'm extending my chord and my chords and altering them as well. But that's the basic framework that I'm working with. So da 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 da, there's chord 4. Okay, so you want to know how to go from chord. Let me see if I can play that same line, if I can remember it. I played something like that. So what if I go da 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 dee? So that could work. Okay, and this is just one example of a line. You don't always have to play this line. I'm just saying you can create whatever lines that you play on a 1/4 could possibly apply to different contexts and different songs. Right, so another place where I like to play this is in I Got Rhythm. So I Got Rhythm is, and this is a place in that song where we go from chord 1 to 4. Okay, I'll play that again. So it goes 1 6 and 2 5, 1 6 then 2 5. Here it goes from 1 to 4. Doop doop doo doo, dip dip dip. Here's 1 to 4. Dum dum da da, dip dip da da da. Okay, and actually after that, there's a lot of 1/4s again. I mean, yes, 1/4. So if I think of E7, da 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 dee, if you think of this as a 1 chord, it's going to its 4, which is A. I'm playing the bridge of I Got Rhythm now. So you could even think of this as another 1 going to 4. So from that A7, the 4 of A is D. And then if you treat this D as a 1 chord, it can also go to 4, which is G. So that whole bridge is like 1/4, and then that 4 becomes 1 4. I mean, that's just another way to see that chord progression. And then from G, that's another 1/4. Okay, let's go to the second important chord progression. I like to think of this one as a major going to its parallel minor. So from C, the parallel minor of C would be C minor. Okay, so C going to C minor. And if I were playing maybe a D chord, that's D major, the parallel minor of D is D minor. Okay, if I'm playing G, the parallel minor of G would be G minor. Okay, so that's how I like to think of this. And I come across this in so many songs. One that comes to mind is Green Dolphin Street. So, ba 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 da da ba. So it goes from C major da dee to C minor, and then it carries on to D over C, then C sharp over D, then back to C. Okay, so I'm just playing the triads for now, but I mean I could start adding sevenths or maybe just extending and altering chords there, and it will begin to feel more like. Alright, so chord 1 to parallel minor. So that's a chord progression that we need to know. Another place where I can think of this is a song like Ornithology. And then. Okay, so it started off with a C. So I'll sing that melody and play just the triads for now. So that right there, parallel minor. So okay. So if I extend the chords, then it probably starts to feel more like how you know it, right? So maybe let me play. Okay, so parallel minor right there. Or if I think of I'll Remember April is another one. So yeah. There. So it's gone from major. It's on major. It's now playing the parallel minor. Okay. So we've covered the 1-4, and now we've covered chord 1 going to its parallel minor. And now let's go to possibly the most common jazz progression of all of them, is the 2-5-1 progression. So when I say 2, I'm simply referring to, like in the key of C, D minor 7, going to G7, and then going to C major 7. Okay, so 2, and then 5, and then 1. Already the song that sort of sounds like is I should care. Da da dee da da dee. Da da da. Da da dee da da da. I mean, it's packed with 2-5-1s, but there's the 2 going to 5 and then going to chord 1. Okay. Another one that comes to mind is All the Things You Are. So if you just think of that opening, there's that 2 and then 5 and then 1. 2 then 5 then 1 da 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 da. That's another 2-5-1. Okay. Or songs like Autumn Leaves. Two going to 5, then chord 1. Then it goes to chord 4 and so forth. But the important thing is you're going to find that 2-5-1. By the way, I think it will be very useful, and I strongly recommend that you practice these chord progressions in all 12 keys. And I'm just showing them in C for now because it's easy to visualize. But a lot of these songs, C is not the original key. So, and maybe the musicians that you play with might not be playing in that key. So you want to be comfortable with them in any key so that you really know how the song's put together, especially from the composer's point of view. Because when you're improvising, you do kind of want to think like the composer. Hello there, my music family and friends. I just wanted to take a quick break from the video, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Now, really quickly, did you know that about 75% of the people that watch my videos are not yet subscribed to this channel? That means there's a chance that you're probably not subscribed either. So if you're not subscribed, please do me a favor and go and click on that subscribe button. That's really going to help me to continue creating content like this and for this channel to do really well. Okay, so let's go to the next chord progression, which is the 3-6-2-5-1 chord progression. And if I'm in the key of C, my 3 is E minor 7, and my 6 is A7, my 2 is D minor 7, and my 5, G7, and there's my 1. Okay, so here's 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. Okay, so this is also referred to as the classic jazz turnaround, and it's normally played, not normally, but usually played at the end of a piece. Or if you're deciding to create an ending, this one is a nice way to end almost anything, really. Okay, so you could play something like that. That's just your 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. So you could play it in almost any song. What I also like is the rhythm changes, the I got rhythm changes, are based on a chord progression. I mean, it's very similar to this. So instead of 3, sometimes we just substitute the 3 with 1. Okay. So, because in many respects, chord 3 and chord 1 are very similar, you know. So, because there's chord 1, it's C, E, and G. If I compare that to chord 3, the only note that's different is the B. But the E and G are there in that chord. Okay, so E and G are common chords common notes in chords 1 and chord 3. Okay, so I could play 1, 6, 2, 5. So that's a very common one. And now 3. And chord 1, chord 3. So it's the same progression. Okay, and the functions can be pretty similar. Already that feels a little bit like Blue Moon. Blue moon, you saw me standing alone. I can use 3 there. Da, 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 na, na, na. So that was Blue Moon 1, 6, 2, 5. The second time I thought maybe instead of 1, let me play 3. 3, then 6, then 2, without a dream in my heart. Okay, so someday when I'm awfully low, then the 3, when the world is 6, then 2, I will feel a 5. Okay, so the 1, 6, 2, 5 and the 3, 6, 2, 5, 1 progression are interchangeable. Even I got rhythm that we played earlier. You could be playing 1, 6, 2, 5. You could play that again, 1, 6, 2, 5. But if you don't want to do that, you can always replace the 1 with a 3. So you can go 1, then 3. Then 1 to 4. Remember that progression we learned earlier? And then here you could do 3, 6, 2, 5 again if you want. Okay, so that right there is a very common chord progression. And like I mentioned with going from chord 1 to 5, you want to be able to play melodies and lines that go that fit within that chord progression. Okay, so all I'm doing there is connecting my chord 3 by playing a C7 scale and ending on the 3rd of A. Okay, so that right there is actually a little improvisation tip, that when you're playing 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, on the 3 chord you can just play your 1/7 scale. That sounds like a lot. Okay, because remember 3 and 1 are interchangeable. So instead of, you can play, and then you end on the 3 of chord 6. So this is the 3 of an A7 chord. That's 3. So I could have done that on chord 1. Okay, because 1 and 3 are interchangeable, remember. So, and now I'm playing 2, 5. Okay. So let's go to the final chord progression that I want to share with you today, and that is a 2-5-1 in a minor key. So sometimes it's just known as a minor 2-5-1. And let's go back to C. Okay, so we'll continue using C, but this time instead of C major, we're thinking the key of C minor. Okay, so here's C minor. Okay, sometimes that minor is played as a minor 7 and sometimes as a minor 6. So in the key of C minor, the 2 chord is D minor 7 flat 5, also known as D half diminished, and then the 5 chord is still the same. Okay, so there's the 2 and there's the 5 in the key of C minor. 2, then 5, then 1. And we find this in songs like Blue Bossa. Blue Bossa is a good one. So bum ba ba da 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 there's 2 ba bi da ba ba da da Okay, I'm obviously voicing the chords differently, but the important thing to note here is da 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 da. There's 2 da. I'm hesitating to play this because that's the melody note. So it's like dee, ba, da, da, ba. So I'd rather play a G7 with a sharp 9. So da 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 dee, da ba ba dee, da da ba. So it starts with chord 1, then chord 4, then 2, ba da 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 ba, 5, 1 in the key of C minor. Okay, so we're in a minor key. Remember, the 2, 5, 1 in a major key is 2, 5, 1. We're playing all white keys because we're in the major key, right? But if we're in the minor, the reason we've got some of these black keys are they're coming from C minor scale, which is, well, I mean, that's just one of them. The cool thing about minor scales is there's so many types of minor scales. You could be playing harmonic minor, okay? Sometimes you're thinking Dorian, but the 2 is coming from, so let's say you've used that scale, and that's your 1 chord, there's your 2 chord. It's a diminished. If you add the 7th, it's a half diminished, okay, because the 7th is not fully diminished. That's why it's called half diminished. And then your 5 chord is the same in both a major key and a minor key. And then the 1, if you're in minor, is a minor chord. If you're in major, major chord. Okay, so another good place maybe to play that minor 2-5 is a song like Softly in the Softly as in a Morning Sunrise. Dee da 2, then 5, then back to 1. Do di ba di ba be bo ba di ba da. There's the 2. Dee da 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 dee da 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 dee da da dee da da da. Okay, and in any minor blues, actually, you also come across this quite often. You know, if I think of a song maybe like Autumn Leaves, if I played that in the key of E flat, da 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 dee, da 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 dee, da da da. I'll play 2, then 5. Okay, so I'd have played that 2-5. Because although the song started in E flat, I ended in C minor. Okay, so there you have it. Let's recap those important jazz chord progressions. So we started with a 1-4 progression, and then we went to a major going to its parallel minor. Then we did the 2-5-1 progression, and then we did the 3-6-2-5-1 progression, which is interchangeable with the 1-6-2-5-1 progression. And then finally, we did the minor 2-5-1 progression. I would recommend that you practice each of these chord progressions in all 12 keys, and this is going to give you a very solid foundation to learn jazz tunes, to improvise, and to even compose your own songs. If this has helped you at all, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And if you've got any questions, again, please let me know in the comment section. If you'd like to find out anything about the teaching programs that I offer, please be sure to check out the links that I'm going to put in the description. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Enjoy your practice.